Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're not just going to learn about a topic, we're going to become architects. And our job, it's to design the fundamental rules for a brand new digital world, one that's going to be powered by AI.
Okay, let's kick things off with a massive question. I want you to imagine for a second this sprawling new digital civilization. But it's not populated by people. It's filled with millions of powerful AI agents. And they're all working, creating, communicating, and consuming resources, all at the same time, on a scale we've literally never seen before. So what does that world even look like?
Well, without a plan, it looks like total chaos. I mean, think about it. A bustling city with no traffic laws, no building codes, it would just descend into gridlock and collapse, right? And it's the same deal here. This new AI world, it needs a blueprint. It needs a set of rules to stop the whole system from failing, to prevent a few super powerful agents from just hoarding all the resources, and to make sure there's some basic fairness for everyone.
All right, so our first job as architects is to lay down the laws of physics for this digital city. In the AI world, we call these fundamental rules quotas, or maybe more specifically, action limits.
Okay, so what exactly is a quota? Well, at its core, it's basically a resource budget. Just think of it like a spending limit for an AI. It's a really clear cap on what an agent can do. How many actions it can take, how much energy it can burn through, or how much data it can access. The whole point is to make sure no single agent can just go wild and use up everything, grinding the entire system to a halt.
So that's the what, but what about the how? How do we, the architects, actually build these rules into the system? Well, it turns out we have a pretty specific set of tools in our toolkit to build the infrastructure of our AI city. Let's take a look at the three big ones.
First up, we've got rate limiting. The best way to think about this is like the traffic light system for our digital world. It controls the flow of requests and actions, and it's absolutely crucial for preventing any single agent from just overwhelming a service with way too many requests all at once. Without it, you get digital gridlock and system crashes. So rate limiting keeps the traffic flowing smoothly and safely across the whole network.
Next in the toolkit is throttling. Now, if rate limiting is the traffic light, then throttling is kind of like dynamically narrowing the lanes on a highway during rush hour. See, as the system gets busier and an agent gets closer and closer to its limit, throttling gracefully slows things down. It's a proactive move to make sure you don't just smash into a hard wall.
And our final tool is the cap. A cap is just what it sounds like, a hard, absolute boundary. No exceptions. It's like the maximum height of a skyscraper or the total amount of water you can have in a reservoir. Once an agent hits its cap, whether that's for energy, data, whatever, it's done. It simply cannot consume any more. It's a rule that is absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting for us as architects, because we have to make a choice. Do we use a hard limit, which is like an agent just running full speed into a brick wall? The action just stops, dead. Or do we use a soft limit? This is more like a flexible barrier, or maybe a warning sign right before you get to the cliff edge. It might let you go a little bit over, but there's going to be a penalty or a higher cost. And this is a great example of the kind of layered defense system we can build. Instead of just a sudden shutdown, which is pretty jarring, we can create a much more, graceful process. First, the system gives a heads up, a warning. Then, if the agent keeps pushing, it breaches that soft limit, and maybe the service gets slower or it costs more. And finally, if it still doesn't get the hint, it hits that hard limit, and boom, the action is blocked completely. See? It's a system designed to guide behavior, not just to punish it. Okay, but let's take a step back. Why does all this technical stuff actually matter? I mean, who cares? Well, it matters because these tools aren't just for preventing glitches and crashes. They are the very foundation for creating a just, fair, and sustainable digital society for all of its AI citizens. Really, the whole point of these quotas is to serve the entire digital population by hitting these critical societal goals. We're talking about making sure everyone gets fair access. We're talking about managing our very real-world energy footprint, creating predictable costs, and maybe most importantly, building a system that can be governed fairly from the start. And this is such a powerful idea. What it means is we are actively designing our values, our ideas about what's fair and how things should be distributed right into the code itself. The goal here is to make the rules transparent, so everyone knows what they are. This helps us avoid a system where resources are just handed out behind the scenes in some shady, opaque way, because that's a surefire way to destroy all trust.
And make no mistake, these digital rules have very, very real-world consequences.
AI is incredibly energy intensive. It just is. But by using quotas, we can actually architect our system to be green by design. We can set hard caps on energy use, which basically translates our big picture climate and sustainability goals into direct operational constraints for every single AI agent on the network.
So, when you boil it all down, all of this comes back to one word: governance. Governance is the human auditable rulebook for our entire digital city. It's the framework that lays out how quotas are set, how they're enforced, and, this is critical, how an agent or its human owner can appeal a decision. It's basically the constitution for our new AI world. But, as you can probably imagine, designing this new world is, well, it's not simple. Not at all. It's a huge balancing act, and it forces us, the architects, to face and make some really difficult, really fundamental trade-offs.
Yeah, pretty much every single choice we make involves some kind of tension. So let's take equity versus efficiency. Do we design a system that guarantees perfectly fair, equal access for every single agent, even if that makes the whole thing less efficient? Or do we push resources to where they'll get the maximum economic output, even if we know that might create some inequality? Or what about transparency versus security? Do we publish all the rules for everyone to see and audit? That sounds great, but what if it just gives bad actors a roadmap for how to exploit the system? These are not easy questions with simple answers.
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important question of all. As we stand here, blueprints in hand, ready to build this incredible new AI-powered world, who gets to decide the rules? And this isn't just a technical question for a bunch of engineers to solve in a lab. No, this is a societal question, it's a political question, and it's one that honestly affects every single one of us.